time. Jamie Morrison, as you mentioned, really happy with the way his team played on that Friday. Sunday, not so much. SMU definitely came out and was strong against the Aggies, but they're ready to get things kicked off here at Reed Arena.
Back inside their home building for the first time in over 8 months. And the first point goes to Texas.
As I mentioned, a heavy, heavy arm for Ring on the outside. One of the heaviest arms Coach Morrison says that he's coached in a long time. You could see the power right there.
A quick put over, and A&M catches him napping.
Another transfer, you're gonna hear the name of a lot this season. Lily Nicholson, the transfer from Florida State. The setter in the back row, and just a little sneaky dump over on two. Smart play.
You know, that was something that head coach Jamie Morrison had mentioned, talking to him earlier this week as well. He said that last year's team had such a big swing ability, right? And he felt like this team could play sneaky, some softer touches to catch teams out of position a little bit. That was a goal for this A&M squad in 2026.
And a great start right here, 5-0 to start things off for the Aggies.
Another great setup and a kill. Eliza Sharp, the Boise State transfer.
Another transfer. You are going to hear so many new names this season. 4 transfers, 4 freshmen making an impact immediately. Eliza Sharp was really good in the middle last weekend, especially in that first match against Louisville. Really excited to see what else she can bring this season.
Oh, we talked about those transfers.
I don't know if he would use the word rebuilding, and I don't know if I want to use that word yet either, but this is going to be a completely different Texas A&M team this season.
Exciting, I think, is a good word to use for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And because Jamie Morrison, his MO is developing players, whether it's a transfer or a freshman, somebody who's been on his team in the past, he is learning how to develop these players faster and faster. So you're gonna take something that is moldable and really get it to where you want to pretty quickly. We saw him do that with the team that won the national championship last year.
A 6-zip lead early on here in this first set for Texas A&M.
And you know, Giovanni, I think that's important. You know, even though it was very, very tough competition last weekend in the ABCA first serve, I think Texas A&M probably still came home a little disappointed with those 2 losses, and so they wanted.
Williams gets the point. First one on the board for the Lopes.
And a nice job by Star Williams. We mentioned her before, the transfer from Tennessee. She's a very physical player. She brings a lot of power to the outside. She's going to be a key component to GCU's success.
And she will now serve from the back line. Nicholson sets it on a tee. And a nice block met at the net. 2 in a row for Grand Canyon. And here's head coach Kendra Potts, 3rd season at the helm at GCU. Ring with the soft touch. Got to get it over. Nicholson. And the block is there once again. Aubrey Bellis, the Arizona native.
Today.
Not that time. Eliza Sharp, her 2nd kill.
Great connection right there by Nicholson and Sharp. Starts with a pass, and I'm gonna say that a lot. You've got to be able to pass the ball to play the game well, and when you can stay in system, it gives you so many options, and it keeps your middle one-on-one. That was a nice run there by Sharp.
Taryn Morris to serve for Texas A&M with a 7-3 advantage here in set 1. Big block.
Texas A&M, such an incredible blocking team last season, and obviously graduated a lot of that with Afina Casapala and Morgan Perkins out of the middle for the Aggies, and that's why it was so important, again, to be able to fill that role with Sharp and Castle.
Another point for the Aggies with the defense up front.
Grand Canyon just kind of trying to figure it out a little bit. We talked about A&M playing last weekend. This is Grand Canyon University's first game of the season. Also, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you're not necessarily used to playing volleyball this early once you get to this level. So I think they're just taking a minute to kind of warm up and wake up.
Yeah, it is an adjustment, right? Especially with the travel. We heard they were a little delayed yesterday coming into town. A&M will play 2 today.
Yeah, that's a great point. So it's probably, what, 9 a.m. their time?
Yeah.
2 hours difference.
Dug out by Rodriguez. Here's Ring. Kept alive, Ring again, and she's met at the net.
Team, beautiful up, covering her hitter and keeping that ball alive.
Nunez sets it up. Dug out by Mann. Ring keeps it alive. And Fitch couldn't keep it inside the parameters.
And that's going to be something to watch for really all season, but especially as the season progresses, is out of system swings. When you get out of system, you want to keep the ball in play, but Coach Morrison said we still want our hitters to be aggressive. And so Megan Fitch right there, smart idea, going for that deep corner, just missed it a little too far.
Williams from Tennessee. What a standout performer, though, at Green Bay Schultz was. Sends this one too far.
Yeah, Coach Potts said she really appreciates her ability to take risks. She carries a lot of load, took a lot of swings last year. They really, really trust her and excited about what she can bring to their program this season.
She had a match last year with 96 attempts. Coach said that is insane levels of trust.
Yeah, I don't care how much ice you have after the game. I think my shoulder would fall off. But yeah, that's what she said. She goes, anytime somebody's going to give a player 96 balls or 96 chances, they obviously trust so much in what she can do and how much of that load she can carry. So they're excited, again, to add her to their offense this season. Just a little bit of a delay here. Officials making sure that everything is correct on the court with the rotations.
Off the net.
At Gabby Rodriguez, the freshman libero for Texas A&M. Giovanni getting a free ball, but GCU doesn't do anything with it, so a point for the Aggies.
Too strong for Musgrove. And a point for GCU.
So a good chance to explain here. Kira Musgrove will serve, and then Lily Nicholson comes back in. Jamie Morrison is calling this a 5-2. So typically you hear a 6-2 or a 5-1, but the 5-2, they're using 2 setters, but in the same position. So Lily Nicholson will play in the back row for the Aggies, and then Kira Musgrove will play on the front row for the Aggies, both of them as setters.
Fitch gets it over. Kept alive. Williams. And she says it's tipped, that it was.
Star Williams has so much jump, so much bounce to her. She can get high, and you see that ball just tip off the fingers of Taryn Morris. Beautiful shot right there by Williams. And again, she comes with a lot of SEC volleyball experience. She knows how to go off those high hands.
Rodriguez, and it gets over. Fitch. How about Williams? Another point for the Lopes.
Coach Morrison not happy with what he's seeing right now. We're going to see a called timeout for Texas A&M, and it's very scrappy, but there aren't any big swings coming from the Aggie side. Everything looks just a little disjointed all of a sudden.
What does this conversation look like right now in the huddle?
Yeah, and I think he's just saying, settle down, and we got to play our volleyball. Right now, we're kind of rushing some things. We're, again, getting a lot of touches and being scrappy, but they should have the ability to run their offense right now in whatever way they want to. And you can see him kind of talking about, you know, staying in your position and making sure, or I can only assume he's talking about this, but then let's get a ball up and let's let somebody take a rip at a ball. Everything is just kind of moving a little bit too quickly and not very smoothly right now for Texas A&M.
You know, I found something he said earlier this week to be super fascinating. He talked about two things: comparison and expectation, and how difficult that can be to handle. That is the challenge he has now as a fourth-year head coach at Texas A&M after climbing the mountain and winning a national championship last year.
Yeah, absolutely, Giovanni. Anytime you win a national championship, obviously everybody's going to compare what you did last year, and they're going to have super high expectations. It's really, really tough to compare when you've got entirely new players on the court right now. And he really, really tried to get away from that, comparing, you know, the new middles with the old middles, or comparing the new outsides with the old outsides, because it's a new team, it's a new season. But obviously the expectations are still going to be there because of what you were able to accomplish last year.
And how about the steady climb as well, right? NCAA tournament first round in 2023, his first year at the helm. Then you go Sweet 16 in 2024, end up 10-6 in SEC play. Then finally you win the national championship last season. Another point for the Lopes.
And again, it's that development aspect of it, right? It's taking what you have and not just saying, okay, we're good here, we're good here. It's continuously developing players, and he's figuring out how to do that faster and faster. And to be able to take a team in 3 years to a national championship is wild. And so he's going to just keep that process and go with it.
Castle. First time we've seen her swing it today.
I was going to say, our first look at the former Buckeye from Ohio State. Big swing right here from Castle. Beautiful pass, set up that nice connection in the middle. So an over-the-line call on GCU, a bit of a break right there for Texas A&M. Just as a safety rule, you are unable to go over that center line, and it looks like they got Macy Hughes for getting a little bit too close.
So Fitch to serve. A low line drive. Williams is blocked. And it's out. Another point for the Aggies.
Yeah, Macy Hughes, the lefty that Coach Potts was really excited about when we talked to her earlier this week as well, said that she has done the most training to improve her game, off-season training, and she said she's definitely a player to look for.
Ring keeps it in on the back line for one more.
And we're starting to see after that timeout, right, things are getting a little bit better for Texas A&M. We're seeing them run the offense. That big kill from Kaya Castle, now with Natalie Ring on the outside.
Williams, Rodriguez, and it's out. And it's
right. The tip, and she's able to play that one softly off the block for the kill.
Set point for Texas A&M here in set number one.
It's a nice job to finish on the in-staff All-American at Marquette. All Big East team was just dominant in that conference. She brings a very, very heavy arm to the outside for the Aggies, a place that they really did need some support. And you know what's interesting about Natalie Ring, I mean, she could have gone to quite a few different schools. I'm sure she had a handful that she was looking at. Coach Morrison told us she looked at the programs that were the best passing programs because she wanted to become a better passer. She wants to be a more well-rounded volleyball player. Obviously has a desire to play at the next level and knew that she needed to improve in certain areas, and that was a big reason why she came to Texas A&M.
Head coach Jamie Morrison said she is one of the heaviest arms I've ever coached.
And you can see it when she gets a hold of one on the outside. It is something to behold. It is a powerful, powerful swing. What'll be interesting, though, is how can she mix up her shots? Because when you're facing teams, especially in SEC play, that have 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", right sides and middles, you can't always power through that. You're gonna have to be able to mix some things up. So I love the heavy arm. Then when Kendall Stowers went down, not only because of her offense, but mainly because of her defense. She passes the ball very well, did a great job in the back row there, getting some digs up. She definitely is a huge, huge plus when it comes to back row ability for the Aggies.
No question, Chelsea, it feels like this A&M offense is starting to find its stride a little bit better here in set 2.
Yeah, we're kind of starting to see the connectivity get a little bit better, the flow get a little bit better. Everybody's kind of realizing where they are on the court. I mean, it was still a good win there in the first set, but there were just some more disjointed plays. We're definitely seeing a calmer, more steady play right now from the Aggies.
Right side of your screen, Kendall Stowers, last year's NCAA tournament most outstanding player. A&M without her today. She has not played yet in the 2026 season. Went down just before the season opener against Louisville with a back injury. Huge loss for the Aggies. Huge opportunity, though, to see not only what else they have, but to get this team some huge experience. Without her presence, you throw her back into the mix, I mean, all bets are off.
I think you're right. That's a great point because, that's definitely a player that was going to play all 6 rotations and obviously have a huge impact on this team. And now you're having to figure out how to do it without her. And you're getting some players, some opportunities that honestly they would not have had if she had been on the court. And then you get her back and, all bets are off, right, for Texas A&M. So, again, a tough blow. I mean, you can even just see it in the body language. Like, this is obviously not ideal for her and the team, but they still say it's day to day. It's definitely something that we're hoping to see her back very soon.
How difficult is that? I mean, you're a former volleyball athlete. To have to sit on the sideline and still have a presence, still have a leadership role. How challenging is that as a young adult?
It's tough, and I think especially for someone like Kendall who has been through such a significant medical past, and if you know her story, you know that she was medically retired from Baylor after her first season because of concussions. And it was something where she wasn't even sure if she'd come back at all. And so then to come back, to win a national championship, to be the most outstanding player, like those are all huge highs.
So GCU returned so much production that if you watch last year's tape, especially late in the year, you're like, this could be helpful, right? Guerrero's back, Kubicek is back, Nunez is back, Anderson's back, Gadir's back. Really all you lost is Annalena Ramirez, and an abundance of playing time and production returns for GCU. So at least if you have a little bit of last season, you can tap into that if you're A&M.
Very true. Yeah, there's still a lot. And, in this part of the season, I think everybody is just reacting and responding. It's not so much about film and strategy and things like that. It's what's happening and how are we going to make it better.
Right. You were chatting before we got the match going today about the libero spot, right? And how strong Gabby Rodriguez is not just reacting, not just having the reflexes and the athleticism. No, half the time she's just in the right spot. She's prepared.
And that's what's an interesting thing about watching a back row player. Sometimes you go, well, that ball went right to her. Well, it went right to her because she read the ball and she knew where to be. I mean, there's so much when it comes to being a libero or a back row player of reading the other side of the court and knowing where you need to be. Some of it is very reactive. Don't get me wrong. And you're flying around trying to grab balls that are off of blocks and things like that. But for the most part, a really, really good libero shouldn't be hitting the ground that much because she's where she needs to be.
Fitch, a net scraper. Williams.
And if somebody says, how do you beat Texas A&M? you hit off their block. You go for fingers, you go for the high hands, and that's exactly what Star Williams did right there. She went for the high hands, got the tool off the block.
Morris takes advantage of Williams' block attempt.
A look at Texas A&M's kill leaders today. Natalie Ring, Eliza Sharp, you see them on your screen right now, and Kaya Castle. Those highlighted players are transfers. So again, bringing in a lot of new faces, using the transfer.
Make a nice play and then just can't counter it, right? Can't keep that momentum rolling and give the serve back to A&M.
Well, and it's really tough because, you know, you talk to Coach Potts and she said, you have to serve aggressively this weekend, because if any of these teams are staying in system, it's going to be a very, very tough weekend. And so you get back behind the service line, you want to serve aggressively. You can't serve what I call a lollipop and just put it up in the air, because then they're just gonna run it back down your throat. So you wanna serve aggressively, but like you mentioned, Giovanni, when you're behind this much, you also don't wanna just give the ball right back and make that service error.
And they've had a ton of success setting up Williams, who digs it out on the back line. That's back-to-back chances where GCU takes advantage of the block and tallies a point.
Nice job by Macy Hughes, the lefty on the right side. And this is a bump set from Nunez, and just a very aggressive swing on that ball, able to take advantage of the big block from the Aggies.
How about Eliza Sharp, the Boise State transfer?
So I love this set because she ran a slide on the play before, but it was a little bit higher and a little bit lower, or I should say slower. This was a lower quick set from Musgrove, and that allowed her to find that seam in between the block. So the fact that they ran the same play but adjusted the set even by a little bit shows that they're really understanding one another. Almost a good dig by Rodriguez, but just catches that antenna.
Instead, it's Macy Hughes with her first kill here in the second set. Fitch, dug out by Anderson. Rodriguez. Fitch gets it over. Musgrove with the block. Anderson. Hughes got it over for the Lopes. What a back and forth. And GCU with the counter punch.
GCU did a great job during that rally of getting really nice block touches. So they didn't get any blocks, but they were slowing everything down, which was allowing their defense to play pretty easy defense behind.
With a little bit of a pump fake in midair. But the big swing on the other side for Oblad.
Yeah, the pump fake didn't fake out GCU. They were still able to get a nice clean set out to the outside, and then Oblad just blasting it down the line for a kill. And just like that, GCU within 3.
Musgrove for Fitch. You betcha.
Beautiful swing by Fitch on the outside. Played on the outside pin last year. Did train some at the right side this past off season, just because they weren't sure exactly where they were going to need her. And then again, when Kendall Stowers went down, they called on Fitch and she was ready.
Oblad. Musgrove. Oblad blocked once again. Anderson sets it up. Third time's the charm for Oblad.
Oblad doing a nice job of turning this ball off the high fingertips of the Texas A&M block, and that one just falls in. I was also very impressed with the defense, picking up Kira Musgrove. She is 6'2", and she is left-handed. So as a I love that run out of the back row. We saw it a little bit last weekend, and I know we'll see it more and more, but Natalie Ring coming out of the back row, so much power, and you saw the GCU defense.
Big swing ability, Natalie Ring, and brings such senior leadership, right? She's a veteran in this sport, not necessarily at Texas A&M, but she brings so much experience to the table, something for the youth of this team to lean on.
Yeah, Giovanni, I think you make a great point. And there's some other veteran leadership experience right there with Kaya Castle, the stuff block. But all of these transfers come in with really high levels of experience, a lot of games under their belts, and so they're not coming in as like new faces, inexperienced underclassmen. They're coming in with a huge veteran presence. And beautiful serve right there by Musgrove. Yeah, GCU wants the timeout.
Head coach Kendra Potts says it's time to talk things over. What's this conversation? A&M just 4 points away from capturing its second set. Well, GCU had this thing as close as 3.
And that's, I think, what it is. Natalie Ring with 8 kills. You got Williams with 7 over on the GCU side. So the outsides are really who are making the big impact right now for both teams. Can they get the middles going a little bit more? I'd love to see that for both teams.
What a dig by Ring. Fitch, Anderson is there. And the block. Kaya Castle.
You can see the emotion coming out of Castle. We haven't said her name a whole lot today. I just don't think she's gotten a lot of opportunities today, but 2 huge stuff blocks in a couple of plays, and she's ready to get going.
Yeah, she's fired up. She brings the juice.
She does.
And a big swing on the other side for Aubrey Bellis. Outside of Williams, Bellis has been that heavy hitter.
And I think that's what GCU's looking for. They'd love to run her more. The thing is, you have to get a better ball to target to run your middle, right? So you've got to pass the ball better. You've got to get some of those digs more so to target. It's really tough to get your middles going if you're not serve receiving well or you're not playing good defense.
So Oblad to serve. Nicholson back in as a setter. Morris with the heavy arm.
Nice dig by Oblad.
And A&M tallies another.
I probably jinxed her. Great dig by Oblad, and then she goes up for the back row attack, and probably just a little bit too much adrenaline. That one was a little off-timed and puts that one into the net.
Here's Fitch. And an ace. Set point for A&M. Williams with the soft touch. Rodriguez, here's Ring. GCU staying alive in set 2.
Nice block right there, Nunez and Bellis. And this is where if you're Texas A&M, you want to finish it. You do not want to let GCU get any momentum going into that 3rd set. Love to put this one away right here.
Number 4. They will serve. It's Kobachok. It's Ring. And Bellis has been busy.
And I think that is the key to GCU getting a little bit more successful against Texas A&M, Giovanni. They've got to get that middle running because that obviously has been successful, but then it also opens up your pin hitters a little bit more.
Ring. Long hit for Fitch. Big block. A&M with another one.
Kaya Castle is seeing the ball really well right now at the net. Her and Taryn Morris teaming up for that big block. And you see the footwork. She gets all the way over and just reaches. It's not a what we call like a roof or a massive stuff block. Like it didn't go straight down, but GCU didn't cover it, and that still goes down in the books for sure.
With that block, Kaya Castle has reached 100 career blocks. A transfer from Ohio State. She's not the only one either. Eliza Sharp, the Boise State transfer, 150 career blocks tallied earlier in set number 2. An ace.
Miss serve.
Miss serve.
You're
My
good.
apologies.
You're good.
You know
No,
what?
no, no, no.
Listen,
You're good.
if we got through a whole day without one of us making a mistake, that just wasn't going to happen.
It's early in the season for everybody, okay? Early in the season for everybody. But yeah, again, the aggressive serving that GCU is trying to accomplish. I don't mind a miss serve, Giovanni, when it's deep like that, because
Sure.
you at least force the other team to make a decision. It's the missed serves that get buried in the bottom of the net. Free point. They don't even have to think about it. It just goes right there. That one, not a bad miss by Oblad, but you do want to try to keep that momentum as much as possible.
So Taryn Morris to serve for Texas A&M.
The U side turned around and screaming tip. There's a smile from Williams. You don't see a lot of emotion from her, but it's interesting. We talked to Kendra Potts and she said she brings a very calm presence. She'll do noisy things on the court, as in like her actions and some of the kills that she's gonna get, but she brings a very calming presence to a very young, rambunctious team, and she loves that. You know, sometimes it's good to have the cheerleaders and the high emotions and the energy, but sometimes you need somebody who's just gonna be that calm presence on the court, and that's Star Williams for GCU.
GCU in front 4-3. And with a miss serve, we're back even, deadlocked at 4. So GCU led 1-0 in set 2. Then they led 4-3 in set 3. That's been it as far as Antelopes in front.
Well, it was out, but what a statement swing right there by Eliza Sharp. If she can just turn that ball a little bit more in and get that on the line, watch this run, and just wide. But that's a slide run that you're gonna see a lot of this season from Texas A&M.
She gets so up.
Weekend at ABCA first serve, and I could hear it on my TV screen, just the whop, like the pop that came off of her hand and onto the floor. Ooh, she woke up that entire gym. But right now, GCU trying to kind of pull away, see if they can get a little bit of a lead here, or more of a lead.
Largest in a set today.
There you go.
The 12th man trying to do everything it can to play a factor. What a dig. Not this time. How about that, Chelsea? Kind of got GCU off kilter with the first swing. Then with the second swing, there was no recovering.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do. Trying to keep people uncomfortable, out of system as much as possible, and then that really just gives you the upper hand.
Ring off the net. Goodeer with another kill.
And there's another successful kill out of the middle for GCU. So again, if they can kind of keep forcing that middle, it's really going to open things up for them offensively.
DJ's been on fire today.
He's great.
Little Mr. Brightside.
Absolutely.
Never can go wrong with Mr. Brightside at a sporting event.
I'd love to know how many, college volleyball teams have a DJ, a live DJ in the arena. It's probably becoming a little bit more popular, but I'll be honest, that's something that Jamie Morrison, when he came to Texas A&M, he brought with him. He wanted to make these matches fun for the fans. He wanted students to skip Friday class. No, I'm just kidding. They're not skipping Friday class.
It's syllabus week, Chelsea.
Yeah, it's syllabus week. says the one who just graduated recently. No, he wanted this to be an experience. You know, the light shows and the music, the DJ, the student section, and it really has added to the atmosphere tremendously here at Reed Arena.
It's championship treatment.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He started building that as day one. Day one, you started seeing those changes. You've got the Hullabaloo band there, you know, playing as well. And you know, we'll see the dance team later on in the season come out. I mean, it's just become such an experience versus just a volleyball match.
Last year, they set the attendance record on Halloween against Texas for the Lone Star Showdown right here in this building, and it was a sight to behold. I mean, it was pulchritudinous.
And I know that they set another record with the most season ticket sales this year, so you're seeing the sport evolve nationally, but especially here. Taryn Morris getting a nice cross-court swing. That is a tough angle for a right-handed right side, but beautiful swing there for Morris.
What a dig. Oblad. Point for the Lopes.
And you said, what a dig. Nunez. Beautiful defense by the setter, and then a nice second ball from Anderson, and it just sets up Oblad to go off the block beautifully.
We have not said Nunez's name enough. A&M's done a nice job of kind of neutralizing number 21 in black.
I agree. I really thought that was going to be a player we were, you know, talking about a lot. And she has done a nice job, but I think you're right. I think they've avoided her when possible, and they've been able to kind of neutralize her, as you said, so that she's not making as big of an impact as we expected. But she's setting it up right now for Oblad, who's doing a nice job on the outside.
Tell you what, 3-point advantage in the set for GCU. A lot left to play here in set 3, but you can tell they want 4.
Well, and we've seen improvement in every set, right? You know, set 1 was obviously they were waking up a little bit and knocking off a little bit of the rust, and then set 2 looked better, and now set 3 even better.
Castle sent back.
A great set the first time. She was forced to kind of tip. She said, hey, we got another chance. Come at me again, let's go. Was able to connect with a big kill.
Morris is blocked. Rodriguez, now Ring. Too much on it. Fingertips kept out of the way by the net, and it's a point for GCU.
It's a nice second ball by Gabby Rodriguez, but Ring just going out, trying to go high off the hands, just missed and went a little bit too flat. And right now, I mean, you know, GCU's playing much better than they were earlier in this match, Giovanni, but it's also A&M just kind of making some unforced errors, and that's why we see GCU up by 3 points.
Kobachuk. And another point for the Lopes. Ring couldn't keep it in play.
Yeah, and she's gonna get called for the lift anyway. She kind of threw that ball, and that's really not, well, it's obviously illegal. They called it, but it wasn't in anyway. And yeah, Texas A&M just a little out of sorts right now, and you're gonna see a timeout called by the Aggies.
Now that you're a national champion and this song's playing, can we call Jamie Morrison the Fresh Prince of College Station?
I don't know if he would like that, but yeah, sure, why not?
So we talked about connections and storylines earlier, right? We have another one for you, and this one gets even crazier, right? Kendra Potts, head coach at GCU, also has a tie with Kim Morrison, formerly Kim Maroon. That is the wife of Jamie Morrison. They coached together at Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
And I think the best part of that story is that Jamie's wife's maiden name is Maroon. Like, how much perfect can you get? Yes, so Kim and Kendra both coaching at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And, you know, again, just the connections, the volleyball world is small. If you've coached at all, whether at the club level or the college level, you've probably coached or played with somebody else. And so just a lot of fun connections. And, you know, again, that's a reason, too, that Jamie really wanted Kendra Potts and her crew to come to this tournament this weekend because of those connections. You want, you know, good people, good teams, good coaches in your building. And they knew that this would be a tough test. And right now, the Antelopes showing just that with a 4-point lead over the Aggies.
Here's another thing that I think always comes to the table when you talk about Jamie Morrison, his resume, his experience. A lot of coaches that are in the college game have been in the college game, right? He stepped away from the college game and did the whole pro thing for a while. How much does that experience tie back into this? Because the game is a little bit different, but you're seeing the sport at the highest of levels.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that comes from his international experience is he wants well-rounded volleyball players. So he wants, and you'll hear this from other middles that he's coached. Andy Jackson comes to mind from Nebraska. She has talked about how when she played on one of his teams that he doesn't let a middle just play middle and only block and only hit. You're gonna learn how to pass. You're gonna learn how to serve. You're gonna learn how to set. He wants volleyball players that can do it all because he knows how important that is to the game. And so that's what I think you see that he brings from international volleyball and brings from his national team experience is not just having really good hitters or really good defenders. They're good volleyball players. And if you notice it when you talk to him, he'll say that. She's a very good volleyball player, not a good middle blocker or a good setter. She's a good volleyball player. It's a nice out-of-system swing right there by Natalie Ring, and that is going to be her go-to all season. If she can find a way to hit that middle back spot consistently, it's such a tough ball to defend because no one's there. No one's really supposed to be there.
Super precise and accurate with where she lands these balls.
You know, and typically, I say no one's there because the block is kind of supposed to take away that spot. So if you can get in between the seam or over the block and find that middle back perimeter ball, it's a really, really good spot.
Applegate with a tally.
So Eliza Sharp off one leg. There's that line ball that she wasn't able to get in the court on that last swing. This time she makes the adjustment, pounds that ball down the line.
And that was Elijah Sharp with the hammer.
And Star Williams using it off the block, doing a nice job. Turn things around as they're down by 4 right now, just looking a little sloppy, and GCU has finally found a few keys to success that they're working on.
Fitch, dug out by Anderson. Williams. Too far across the back line and a point for A&M.
Looks like we might have a challenge called. I'm not sure. Kendra Potts was looking to her bench, and she's going to do, oh, maybe. I'm like giving you a very awkward play-by-play because I feel like that's how, yeah, so sure enough, we are going to see a challenge called by Kendra Potts because either looking for a touch at the net or maybe even seeing if that ball was in the court.
Grand Canyon is challenging a touch on the play.
There we go. So they are going to challenge to see if there was a touch on the ball at the net, or it could even be in the back row, but I'm pretty sure they're looking for a touch off of a. And if you win your challenge, you keep your challenge. But if you lose your challenge, then, well, you lose your challenge, and you don't get to keep that one anymore. So it does look like that they've come to a decision. Yeah, the only thing I could see is maybe be off of the left pinky. Well, the ball's in. See, that's where it'll be interesting.
After review, the ball is in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point
So every look was looking at the net, and then we get that last look, and it ends up being it.
Yeah, and so this is interesting. You can challenge something, but they'll take a look at the whole play. And sure, the ball was definitely in. But yeah, we were well, the official told us they were looking for the touch.
Right.
So
GCU to serve. Bella Nunez, who's been quiet today offensively. Williams keeps it in.
it's a great turn by Star Williams. You know, I mentioned Natalie Ring hit that spot earlier, right? Middle back, it's really hard to defend. Goes over the block and just puts it in no man's land.
Back-to-back kills for Star Williams, who's been the best player on the floor for GCU today. Anderson keeps it up. GCU gets it over. Fitch in the bucket.
I love that. You can call it a tip, but it's the way she contacts it, it's going down. So it's really got some force behind it, and she put it right into what I like to call the donut hole. So everybody's kind of creating this circle, and she just puts it right in the middle.
Williams. A&M couldn't recover on the other side.
Star Williams is just doing a really nice job of taking anything she can get on the outside, putting some power behind it. Honestly, this is good news for Texas A&M. Star Williams has now rotated to the back row. Grand Canyon, if they can keep hold of this lead and take this set, they'll keep the match alive. Texas A&M would love to see if they can obviously cut into this deficit right here.
Too strong for Fitch. It's 19-12 in set 3.
And sure enough, there's a timeout called by Coach Jamie Morrison. Not happy with what he's seeing on his side of the court.
What's changed here in set number 3 where GCU has created this advantage?
Yeah, I think Star Williams is a huge, huge part of it, right? I mean, GCU, they've started passing the ball a lot. The A&M block up top, and then also finding holes in the defense. And so just doing a good job of finding answers. And then I think also GCU's been playing better defense. I'm seeing balls that are being picked up that were hitting the floor earlier. And all of that, just keeping the ball in play and kind of allowing A&M to make their own mistakes is what has given GCU this 7-point lead.
It's another example of that precision and accuracy, right? It feels like she has complete control of where the ball is going, particularly with the softer touches.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is an experienced player. She's in her 6th year of playing college volleyball. Obviously some red shirts in there, but she comes in with a ton of experience and maturity, and you're seeing that in her shot selections.
Williams and GCU looking to snag set number 3 and force a 4th here to open up the Texas A&M Invitational this weekend in College Station. Williams to serve. And it's put down by Kaya Castle.
And I gotta give a shout out to Addie Applegate. They like to call her Apple. She starts with a beautiful pass, and then what a slide run by Castle. We're used to seeing Sharp on the slide. We haven't seen it from Castle very much, but she shows right there that she definitely has the ability. No block, wide open net.
Castle tried to get them off kilter and sent it too far. Point for GCU.
Oh, that's one you want back, because that's an overpass off of a very good serve. It comes right to you, and I think Castle just got a little bit anxious and mishit that one, because that's a ball that has to hit the floor in the court. They all hit the floor eventually.
Yeah, right. Nice strike by Macy Hughes.
Yeah, GCU is just in complete control right now. I mean, everything that they want to be doing, they're doing well. This is a nice back set. Hughes sees a big old hole right in that block and goes.
And remember, this is GCU's first match of the season. Another block up front. It's Hughes once again. And they're starting to catch their stride a little bit.
And that was a good aggressive swing from Taryn Morris on the outside, super out of system ball. But Macy Hughes does a nice job of timing that. It's just as hard as it is for the hitter to time a ball that high, it's hard for the block as well, and Hughes did a really nice job. I think that this is just the stat crew also doing their first game of the season.
Okay.
And we're just double checking and making sure that everything is as it should be. Yeah, we've had a few slowdowns this match, and the down ref, he's just making sure that everybody's, you know, on board. You've got your stat crew, and you've also got an official bookkeeper, and you want to make sure that they're all on the same page.
Oblad. That's another outside hitter that's been busy today for GCU.
Gentry Oblad, and check out this out-of-system ball. This is a bump set from behind her, and she was able to track it all the way and have a beautiful cross-court shot. That is a great, great swing. By a freshman. No, sophomore, excuse me. Typo.
Kept alive. How about Rodriguez? We got a rally. Dug out on the other side by Kabachuk. Oblad. And GCU with another one. It's set point.
Oh, I was right the first time. She is only a freshman. Super impressive, nice job. I mean, the defense is really good on both sides, but we're seeing GCU putting balls away more than A&M.
Oblad blocked this time. It's Kaya Castle.
Jamie Morrison told us when we talked to him earlier this week, she is their stuff blocker. You are going to see more stuff blocks from Kaya Castle than probably anyone else this year, and she just gets so high over the net, quickly, I should say, improve just over these last 3 sets.
Look how loose, calm, cool, collected, having fun this GCU team is. The bench is fired up, they're dancing, having a good time. I mean, it does not look like they're playing the defending national champs in their house, right? They're ready to go, and they just took a 3rd set.
I was gonna say, you just took a set off of a ranked opponent for the first time in a couple of years. Like, that's a big win, and they're improving as this match goes on. Now, can A&M make the adjustments after that 3rd set?
A little too much heat from Williams.
Yeah, just caught that one a little bit flat. And again, she's been seeing success by going high off the hands of that big block for A&M. So that's probably what she was aiming for right there, but just missed a little bit too high.
Fitch with the serve. Here's Ring. Puts it in the perfect spot. Precision from Ring.
And what I love from this play is the dig by the setter, Lily Nicholson. She does a really nice job of preventing that ball from hitting the floor. Then a great setup by Rodriguez and a good tip by Ring.
Williams, too strong again.
And just like that, A&M already off to a hot start. I love that they have not really let that 3rd set affect them too much. A lot of energy and talk right now coming from the freshman libero, Gabby Rodriguez.
They go right back to Williams. And Williams takes advantage.
Yep, gets it off the block. The block was there. Morris and Castle, they just got to really push that ball back into the court instead of letting it go soft off their hands. But Nice swing by Williams on the outside to get GCU back in this.
Aubrey Bellis to serve. Some height on the back line. And a miss serve. Point for the Aggies.
And again, not a bad miss because you still had to force A&M to make the decision. And honestly, that was a really good read by Gabby Rodriguez. I say 7 out of 10 players actually play that ball because it looked so close, but a really nice read there by the libero. Not a bad serve right there if you're GCU.
Does she play like a freshman? Because
No.
it doesn't seem like she does.
Oh, that's the easiest question to answer you've given me all day. No, absolutely not. And obviously the skill, right? She really is one of the best liberos. I think that the SEC is going to see this year, maybe even in the country. And I know that's a bold statement, but she has been so impressive lately. But I think more so it's the energy and the attitude that I'm seeing from her. She doesn't look scared. She doesn't look lost on the court. I mean, she looks like a junior, senior, 100%.
I mean, that's an embarrassment of riches, right? If you're Morrison and the staff, you go from Ava Underwood at that spot right to Rodriguez. That's lucky.
And I don't want to overlook Addie Applegate, who was a consistent defensive specialist for the team last year. You've seen her this year. Coach Morrison said it was an absolute battle between Applegate, mind you, who is only a sophomore, Applegate and Rodriguez at that libero position. He goes, it was not just a shoe-in by any means, but she definitely has earned that position. And last weekend at AVCA First Serve, Gabby Rodriguez in 2022. So she definitely made a splash, and people are going to know who she is if they haven't figured that out already.
Rodriguez, the talk of the town in Milwaukee throughout those broadcasts last weekend.
Yeah, I think Courtney Lyle and crew just couldn't get enough of her, and I think she even said, we are obsessed with Gabby Rodriguez. And I think Mary Wise brought up a really good point, Giovanni, is, you know, she is small. Most liberos are, right? But as college volleyball progresses, you're seeing taller liberos because they can cover more court. So if you are undersized or a smaller player, how do you get yourself looked at by some of these D1 teams? And it's all about range. It's all about the amount of floor that you can cover. So even though she is small, she has such good footwork and the ability to read that she's still covering a ton of court.
Kept alive. And Williams again. Oblad kept the play going. Williams again pouncing on the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think the block for A&M, they're just floating just enough. That was also just Star Williams doing a really nice job of going off the outside hand of Taryn Morris. But Morris and Shark need to make that adjustment, force that ball back into the middle of the court.
Point for Texas A&M. Nunez with a missed serve.
Speaking of Applegate, she's going to come in and serve this time around for Taryn Morris. And this is probably a situation that A&M's going to work through, is who do you leave back there, Morris to serve or Applegate? Applegate obviously the better defender, but can she get her service game good enough that you want to keep her in as well?
Precision by Macy Hughes. Nunez in the mix as well.
Okay, Natalie Ring bringing the fire behind the service line. Hadn't really seen that from her today. She let that one rip.
That was another thing Jamie Morrison talked about. He said he wanted to be able to serve in a bunch of different dimensions, right? Here's Ring again. Too much that time.
Yeah, just a little low on the toss and contacted that one low, but you know, that's a serve. If she can kind of get that a little bit more consistent, that's definitely something that they're gonna want to take a look at and see if they can find something. Because yeah, serving has become such a critical part of the game. I mean, it's always been a part of it, right? But, oh, little change of a decision right there by the line judge. And I think we're going to see a challenge here. So the line judge initially said out, pointed it in, but the Texas A&M bench is right on that line. And Jamie Morrison, I mean, he'll have somebody on staff sit on that line to kind of keep an eye on it. And for this reason, exactly.
Texas A&M is challenging the ball out.
So A&M using its challenge now. Off first view, what did you think, Chelsea?
It's a little tough from where we are. I think it was interesting that the line judge's flag went up to signal out and then changed his mind and went back in. I am interested to see what kind of view they have. I will say I'm a little jealous of the ABCA first serve technology they had last weekend, where they were able to automatically call it out or in without line judges.
Great look at the Sambas.
Yeah. Here's a good look from up above. And I think that ball's out. And I say that because I saw the entire white line and a little bit of maroon right there. And so I do think that this ball is out. I am not always correct when it comes to what the official decides.
Right.
I'm always correct, Giovanni.
Sure.
Just not always
right
in agreement.
After the ball, the call is confirmed. Point
See? Right there. And a lot of it has to do with the video evidence, the looks that the officials have. So sometimes it's not enough to overturn a call, and that's what we saw right there.
Has to be indisputable.
So a little bit of a break for GCU. Texas A&M does lose that challenge since they got it wrong. GCU still has both of theirs.
And this could honestly be a big moment in this fourth set. If GCU was to make this thing interesting,
Agreed.
Try and force a fifth, like this could be a swing point.
Absolutely.
Something to keep in the back of your brain. Fitch saying, let's not worry about all that.
Yeah, big net violation too by GCU, but either way, that would have been a kill for Megan Fitch. And so a nice job, and then that's what you have to do out of a challenge like that, especially if it doesn't go your way. You really have to do your best just to immediately flush it and move on to the next point and try to get that side out.
Margot Manning with the serve. Fitch, perfect placement.
And that's a ball that GCU needs to read better. It's still a great placement by Fitch, but that ball's tight. She didn't really have a lot of options. You've got to kind of start crashing and read that ball a little bit better if you're GCU.
We've said it a bunch today, but always worth reminding that Fitch, starting in place of last year's NCAA tournament most outstanding player, Kendall Stowers. 37 in white, inactive so far in 2026. Missed the first two matches of the season last weekend in Milwaukee. Out once again today in game one of a doubleheader for the Aggies at home.
Yeah, back at it tonight against Arkansas State. I will be on the call along with Casey Richardson. So if you're watching right now, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to tune in tonight if you're not already making plans to come out to Reed Arena.
Fitch puts it down again.
You know, and going back to Fitch getting the start last weekend and everyone kind of talking about, you know, how much pressure that is and, you know, to be called like that just basically 2 hours before game time, realizing that you're going. Well, Megan Fitch got to play quite a bit last season on that national championship squad. She wasn't a starter. Hello. Let me interrupt that thought real quick. Taryn Morris, okay.
Mean from Taryn Morris.
Oh my gosh, this ball overpass, she just absolutely crushes it in front of the 3-meter line. But I asked Coach Morrison on our call, you know, about Fitch, and I said, you know, how important was that experience, although limited, last season? And he said, oh, absolutely, because when she does get called in, it's not like a sophomore who's never seen the court. And there's another big swing by Fitch. I mean, this is a player who has experience. She started an SEC match last year. She came in throughout, you know, the season and postseason, and so it's not like somebody who's just, you know, never played a whole lot before or anything like that. And she plays with that maturity and that experience, and I love that. But physically, she's just going to keep getting better.
Another point for the Aggies. Their blocking ability today has stood out to me.
Yeah, it's definitely
It's the SEC in the AVCA first serve last weekend in Milwaukee.
Yeah, Texas A&M, obviously tough competition, and without Kendall Stowers, went 0-2. Kentucky doing a nice job, 1-1. Again, very tough competition. And then Texas, a little surprising as they dropped their season opener to Arizona State. And you know, Arizona State looked really good, and obviously also a ranked opponent, but just interesting because Texas went so long last season undefeated. And so to come out and take an L in the first match of the season, not what the Longhorns are used to, that's for sure.
Oblad with the big swing. Nice dig, and A&M there on those soft touches, those mishits a little bit, right? The missed passes, A&M has taken advantage.
Yeah, you really got to try to keep your ball, the first contact on your side of the court. This is a little bit of an overpass. So Kaya with the tip, and then the overpass, and Megan Fitch just slams it down to finish things off. And GCU, they really see this thing getting away, Giovanni, and they go ahead and call a timeout, see if they can kind of stop the bleeding.
And here's a peek at some of the things that make this play special.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. Yell leaders are here on a Friday morning. They are getting the student section going with the yells. I'm sure everybody's looking forward to football season, obviously, as well. But this is a big one. You know, A&M, again, not many national championships across the board. And so when you can have one, especially in a new sport, like a new first time, I should say, like in volleyball, it's going to bring that much more excitement to the place.
This is what they call right here the BTHO. I'm going to let the pictures do the talking.
It's a nice one with GCU. It makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Sometimes you run into some kind of funky ones, but. Yeah, and again, I go back to when Jamie Morrison started here, he wanted to get the students more involved. Yeah. He would go up before games, he would go up into the student section and talk to them. Do you know how many Jamie Morrison Halloween costumes I saw last year?
No.
Like bald caps and all. Oh, yes,
That's
100%. They absolutely love him. And I know it's an odd game time right now, so you may not have as big of a crowd. I'm really excited for tonight's match because I think it's going to be spectacular.
Got a banner drop coming up tonight.
Banner drop coming up, so you're going to have a lot of the former players, you know, of those 9 that they lost last season, you're going to have a few coming back for that tonight. They will have a ring presentation later on in the season. I believe that's happening against Wisconsin whenever they host the Badgers here. So a lot of exciting things, and it's interesting because you want to still celebrate last year, but you also have to look forward. Like, you have to think about this season as well.
And that is the challenge, right, for this Texas A&M team. When we talked to Jamie Morrison, he said it really comes down to 3 things: comparison, expectations, but the biggest one for them is patience. He said true talent takes time. That was a group that ended up winning the national championship, right? It didn't start that way. It was a climb. It was a trajectory for that team, and it took time. He said that group trusted that they could get there. It took 2 to 3 years to build, and he thinks that this team in 2026 is actually moving at a faster pace to accomplish that than their predecessors.
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of the team that is returning, even though they weren't starters, they've been in the program, right? So they've seen the system and they've seen it work. And then the transfers that you added this year all come with so much experience, and he now kind of has this recipe that he's been perfecting of how to develop a player, and so you're going to see that move quicker and quicker.
Hernandez tries the block, but it ends up a GCU point.
Yeah, look at Amari Hernandez. This is a kid that I absolutely love her story. So she grew up down in the Valley of Texas. McAllen is her hometown. Not a place where there's a ton of action when it comes to club volleyball. Not a lot of development for players that age. And she came to Texas A&M volleyball camp one summer. And somebody came, found Coach Morrison and said, hey, you got to come into this gym and see this kid. She's absolutely bouncing balls. And so they go, they take a look, and they're like, hey, man, I think we could really do something with her. And so she comes, she walks on, she's been on the team, and they say she's got a cannon of an arm. And we'll see it right there. She uses the block and gets a kill. But just a player who they love having on the team, and they love seeing her progress over the last few years.
It's one of those stories that you just love to hear, right? Reminds me, if you're an Aggie listening, reminds me of like a Jorian Wilson on the baseball team here at A&M, right? Where goes to a small school in Texas, one of those smaller towns, doesn't get the same kind of national recognition, but ends up at A&M and makes a huge impact, particularly in their youth. Obviously, Hernandez now a junior, but Coach thinks she has an opportunity to certainly see the floor and make a difference.
Well, and we've already seen an injury this season in Kendall Stowers. You have to have depth, and you have to have players that you can rely on your bench. And I think that she's going to be one of those players.
There's a player that you're going to talk about a whole lot. Eliza Sharp. Jamie Morrison said her athleticism is freaky.
I know people don't like to compare and contrast and all of the things, but I'm going to bring out a name that if you've been an Aggie volleyball fan for a while, you'll definitely know. Shelby Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully. This is somebody who, was incredible on A&M's team, who reminds me a lot of Eliza Sharp, or I could say Eliza Sharp reminds me a lot of Sully. That heavy arm and that athleticism. As you said, Coach Morrison said freaky athletic, because she is, especially when someone is that long, Giovanni, they don't always move laterally that efficiently, but you definitely see that from Sharp. And then she gets a nice block to cap off a little bit of a run. 11 kills on the day. She's been kind of quiet about that. That's big time.
And Eliza Sharp, one of those players that Coach said is just continuing to improve every day. Came in here as a very, very strong outside hitter. He said, we are going to turn her into an unbelievable volleyball player. To your point, Chelsea.
And, I think he said something in our call. She'll just keep doing, I'm going to keep talking about her. He said something in our call that really struck me. He said, she has figured out how to learn here. And it's almost like, you can get told things, you can get coached, but until you figure out how to take that and actually turn it into something, it's not always going to translate. So she's figured out how to learn, how to improve, how to, treat all of the things and all of the resources and actually use it to her advantage. And I love that.
That's the kind of player that you have to love coaching if you're Jamie Morrison, or any coach for that matter.
Absolutely.
Texas A&M can taste its first victory of 2026. And a missed serve could help them get there.
2 points away, and I think, A&M took that third set, they flushed it, and they have really looked a lot better here in set number 4.
Way to keep it alive by Hernandez. Oblad. Blocked. Kaya Castle.
I love the energy and the star clips.